I'm going to start here.
So we said that we need to identify an opportunity to create a sandbox to test and build a compelling use case for actors to fully buy in.
You're right.
So we are going to read out one solution is to bring the data together in a data marketplace so that the entities are coordinated under one national statistical agency, where they can share both the costs and the revenue from this data marketplace.
Thank you. I think we've done with the blue, correct? Yes, what about you?
Thank you. Multi-stakeholder effective engagement.
Okay. There, yes.
Shared vision and the value proposition for the different stakeholders.
Thank you so much. Yeah, please, sorry. Yeah, we continue with trust.
So one item was to encourage and develop more mediation across actors to generate those collaboration. Number 2 was a great example of choosing or relying on a trusted actors. We had an example from Brazil where a fiduciary or notary firm was chosen as a data steward. And number 3 was to develop more guidelines and clarify the business case to encourage collaboration.
Thank you so much. Let's move to registries. Yes, Greg.
Thanks. For us, out of the 3 kind of main items we identified, we thought that the convening power that we could have as a group to bring together key organizations, have some learnings on best practices, what to do, what not to do. Just here at this table, we had different representatives that had set up, national registries from Uganda, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, and there was a lot of information and learnings that came through this. And the last point out of this last element is the role of AI. Really discuss together how this could be embedded into the deployment of such registries.
Thank you.
One thing that I was a host. One thing I noticed throughout all the groups coming through was it seemed like what people meant by data could be really different, and what people meant by incentive could also be really different. And so what we thought would be best is for us as a group to come together and create a consensus and level of clarity on what is the exact literal data we are talking about, being gathered, being collected, and then based on that, and farmers and other stakeholders, what should be the level of access based on data type. What is good data to be sort of pre-competitive, shared publicly, versus what should always be kept private. And if we can agree on that, we can come up with a plan to operationalize it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. We're going to applaud all of ourselves at the end. What about data democracy? What's your one proposition?
Thank you. Learning from other sectors, such as the health sector and the education sector, what can be adapted?
Closing.
Yes. Okay, so you're going to get lots of Post-its, but we'll stick with one that we're going to share, which is standards, a suggestion that we need standards that require farmer benefit as a core requirement. So a first filter for funding and research and programming dollars require that you demonstrate that there is a principled value to producers from it.
Thank you so much. I have nothing else to add except that please, that's the moment to applaud yourselves. Thank you so much. We've not landed here. There is going to be much more talk to continue, elaborate, dig deeper into those emerging ideas, so stay tuned. But I think we now need to give the floor, and I'm going to have Andy back. Please, Andy.
Hi, everyone. How about a big clap for me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I tell you what, just walking around the room on the wall, incredible conversations happening at all the tables. So really, thank you so much for that. The contribution from you, the delegates, is second to none, and I really do appreciate that, and we all do. Thank you on behalf of COSA, GIZ, and the Gates Foundation. Thank you so much for what the input you're putting into this very important Agile Data and DPI Summit. In fact, you got to give yourselves another round of applause. Thank you. I'm sorry, I just like appreciating yourselves, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I've jumped in here, unfortunately, is that our next speaker has to leave us pretty much straight away. But it was very important that we heard from her and we heard her voice. And then one of the major reasons, of course, is because she's here representing United Nations, and she's obviously based in Harare for United Nations. And she was supposed to be on the policy debate tomorrow, but unfortunately, she has to leave us. So, framing the policy discussion, please join me in welcoming the UNFPA Zimbabwe Country Representative, Miranda Tabifor. Guys, I think now you can move up to your tables here. I think your maid, Lars, and that table. Brian, please move up. Are you okay? Okay, good. Right, let them walk up, right? Before Miranda starts talking. Right, let's do this a bit. How's that? Right, guys, well, while we get ready, let's move up, guys. Fill up the tables here. I think that's way better. Thank you. You're a great audience. Thank you so much. Brilliant. Thank you. All right. Good. So, before Miranda talks, let's give her another round of applause because she's been standing here. Miranda, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Andy. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me begin by warmly thanking COSA team, along with its partners, the Gates Foundation, GIZ, Diasca, for bringing us together to explore this timely theme of agile data and data public infrastructure here in the beautiful resort town of Victoria Falls. It is a privilege to speak with you this afternoon as a precursor to a panel discussion, as you've heard, on policy regarding agile data and data public infrastructure. The question before us is not whether data and digital tools will shape the future of Zimbabwean agriculture and climate resilience. They already are shaping the space. The question is whether we will shape that future deliberately and inclusively, we've heard from all the discussion we had, or allow it to evolve in fragmented, inequitable, and ultimately fragile ways. From the get-go, distinguished delegates, I would like to remind us that yesterday, the summit shed some light that agile data initiatives and data public infrastructure are mutually reinforcing, and we've heard from all our discussions continuing today. Agile data producers generate timely, granular data, insights that become far more powerful when shared, governed, and reused through common DPI standards, registers, and platforms we've heard. In turn, a robust safeguard DPI lowers transaction costs, build trust, and creates clear rules of the game, helping government, communities, private sector, civil society organizations, as we've heard, and farmers themselves to build consensus around shared data, align with safeguards, and collaborate on high-impact evidence-based solutions. And I think that's what we'll be discussing this morning. So today, ahead of tomorrow's panel discussion on policy, I would like to focus on the central theme, how Zimbabwe can effectively navigate the intersection between agile data and digital public infrastructure by dispelling architecture of distrust, deepening data democracy, and embedding agile data methodologies for rapid climate adaptive policy making for accelerated progress towards the sustainable development goals and the attainment of Vision 2030. I would like to structure my remarks on 3 core shifts. The first being building trust digital public infrastructure. I'll just list them because we're talking about that and also giving time. Across the continent, as we know, including here in Zimbabwe, we have seen substantial investment in digital agriculture, platforms, weather apps, farmers, registries. We've heard about it today from our FAO colleague, e-vouchers in different programs and systems, remote sensing dashboards. Yet many initiatives that we have had have not delivered what we are expecting. Where is the barrier? We just did barriers. This exercise that we just did. The barrier is no longer just technology. It is trust. It is trust. That is the first area that I've talked about. So, what are the emerging issues when we talk about the architecture of trust? Some people talk about architecture of distrust or architecture of trust. So we'll talk about that. I want to go to the second aspect. Because I don't want to go to the details with that. We're going to share this presentation for us to see the details for each of those areas I want to talk about the shifts. So the second shift is moving from data extraction to data empowerment, putting farmers at the center. And we've heard it across our groups of this afternoon. Putting farmers at the center. And we got to hear from the examples from, I think, India, our colleague was already left, and even from this group work that we've done this afternoon. So this happens, even the best design systems, if we don't put the beneficiaries at the center, the system will definitely fail. The very people who provide the data and are not considered, some groups talked about leaving no one behind, will not involve the persons with disability. So we must put the beneficiaries at the center when we talk about empowering and putting this data and the people at the center of our work. So that is the second shift I'm talking about. And the third shift we heard also is about that data democracy that has to be inclusive. It has to be inclusive because agile data is rapidly evolving. We have heard about climate change, climate adaptive policy making, moving from slow to retrospective monitoring to agile data. So the third agile data aspect that we want to really put forward after reflecting since yesterday is to ensure that we have concrete monitoring systems in place. We are aware that we have computer-based telephone interviews when we go to the field to collect data. We are also aware that we use interactive voice response, IVR. We use SMS and surveys. But the question is, do we actually monitor these traditional forms of data? That third area. Or do we just collect the data and not involve those who are beneficiaries who are providing the data? So we have seen from practice, for instance, in different countries in the continent, Malawi, we've heard from the whole year, Zimbabwe, we've heard from Uganda and India. But for Zimbabwe, which faces recurrent droughts, cyclones, risk, and shifting rainfall patterns, which we know, the ability to adapt policies within a season, not just between 5-year plan, could be transformative. Could be transformative. Let's just imagine the Ministry of Agriculture, and I think they're represented here, running fortnightly phone surveys with a representative panel of farmers in the field, at the grassroots, in the communities, in the villages, to track planting decisions and inputs available and climate impacts. Using this data to adjust input distribution, that's the Ministry of Agriculture, target extension support to the farmers, it can actually trigger social protection top-ups in most of the affected districts where we have the cyclones or the droughts. Imagine as well the Ministry of Agriculture realistically integrating continuous, lightweight feedback from the data gathered from the farmers. What would that mean? Consider the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, Ministry of ICT, supporting with connectivity and ensuring that digital rails, as we saw yesterday, and even today, needed to move from one computer or compute from one to another capability, or for an AI-driven aspect, if that ministry is now working together with Ministry of Agriculture. So ICT ministry coming together with Ministry of Agriculture, just imagine the transformation that is going to make and the impact. So the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of ICT, they already have, in this country, we have the AI strategy, which actually has already been launched in the country. So how can the country now harness on that strategy? It's already there. It means that the policy framework is already there to guide how we actually involve data and use it in the context of our theme, supporting the farmers to deliver what is expected. So Agile Data should not replace deep in-person engagement. We've heard it, bringing everyone to the table, or long-term research. Rather, it can actually augment, enhance a more iterative learning process, which we have learned the last couple of days. So colleagues and partners, let me link these three shifts to the achievement of our common global goals. The global goals that I mean here, these are the sustainable development goals that we are all aware of. We are having a target of 2030. These three shifts, they consider trusted digital public infrastructure, data democracy, and agile data. And if we want to achieve the SDGs, we cannot run away from that. So by sharpening, if I go now to look at now, coming to the UN lens, as the UN High Impact Initiative on Digital Public Infrastructure reminds us, when countries invest in people-centered, interoperable digital building blocks, anchored in universal safeguards, last-mile inclusion, affordability and openness, green design, this document is available, then we'll be able to unlock a platform for innovation across the 17 goals of the SDGs. So by sharing open standards, reusable digital tools and goods, and know-how, experiences, we believe that countries like Zimbabwe can move faster and at lower cost. Yesterday we got the definition of agile. So these three core shifts that I've mentioned map directly the following SDG goals for Zimbabwe. We have the SDG 1 and 2 of no hunger and of no poverty. SDG 5 on gender equality, we talk about inclusion in our sessions this morning and afternoon. SDG 9 on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. SDG 13 on climate change. And SDG 17 on partnership. We cannot do it alone. We need multi-stakeholders to deliver on that. So as we look ahead to the afternoon's conversation and even tomorrow, I would like to leave us all with a focused call to action. 5 concrete priorities that Zimbabwe's policy and decision makers can take forward. We're talking about Zimbabwe, we're painting the entire picture, which can also be applicable to other countries. The first is mandate a national trust framework for agricultural data and services. Second, invest in shared digital public infrastructure. Third, operationalize data democracy in agriculture. We've heard about it. Fourth, let's pilot and scale agile data systems for climate responsive policy. And lastly, let's build capacity from compute to capability. We're going to get to that. So Zimbabwe's DPI ecosystem can be designed as an open, interoperable, human-centric system that embeds safety, inclusion at every step, at every layer, in that platform. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, the United Nations system in Zimbabwe and its 25 UN entities, 15 resident ones, will stand ready to support this journey by convening partners, providing technical assistance, sharing lessons from other countries, and aligning development finance with your priorities. Let us move together so that every byte of data that we have, every line of code that we have, and every digital rail should serve the well-being and resilience of Zimbabwe's people, and especially its farmers. Thank you very much. Tatenda Siabonga.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Miranda Taribo, UNFPA Zimbabwe country representative, with those fantastic words. Miranda, thank you. As I said, she is leaving. So again, I'm not sure we'll be able to catch her. But she will be leaving. So I know Sirak will still be here. Where's Sirak? There he is there. He's the UN communications rep here in Zimbabwe. So any contact details are from him. Thank you so much. Please give her a big round of applause as she leaves. Thank you, Miranda, representing the UN and giving us the right words for the policy briefing. Right. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. All right. Well, a bit of a change in the program. We will now break for lunch and to be back here at 2 p.m., 2 o'clock. So lunch now. Your tickets, I believe, if you have